Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hi. Good evening and welcome to Chat with Temiloluwa 3.0. So I just want to know if there is anybody in here. As you are joining us, please confirm that you can hear me and that you can do so loud and clear. So if you can hear me now, just type loud and clear. I want to be sure that the audio is good and that you can see me as well. Okay, I see Samuel Inioluwa. Welcome. You're the first person that is showing up here tonight. Thank you so much. I want to see if there is any other person here. I'll be looking through the comments to see if any other person is joining us tonight. Okay, hi. How are you doing, Samuel? It's good to have you. Thank you for coming early. I'm sure that every other person will also be joining us very soon. I want us to make sure that we keep the time today because we have a lot of amazing stuff coming up on the session tonight. So, thank you, Inia. Thank you so much. Loud and clear. That's good. I'm excited to see that. So welcome to Chat with Temiloluwa 3.0. This is something that I started last year. By the way, my name is Temiloluwa. In case you do not know, my name is Temiloluwa Grace Owolabi, the founder of Chat with Temiloluwa. And this YouTube live series is something that I started because I wanted to begin to share information. I wanted to do some kind of enlightenment and empowerment for people. And I realized that I could not do it alone. I have to have people that I will be sharing these ideas alongside them, people that, know as well, and maybe even more than I do. And so today, I am not doing the session alone. I have someone very wise, someone very great, is an expert, is someone that I have been privileged to learn from several times. Just in a moment, I will be putting his bio up here. Yes. And I hope we can all see this. Let me take this off the screen so bios are boring, right? But fun facts are interesting. And when a little backstory here, when I met Ivan, I'd say it was just divine because I came across this course on Udemy and I just fell in love with the practical insights and the way that he was teaching. When I watched the first two videos, I said, this is a course that I would love to take. I would love to learn more from this kind of person. And so I decided to follow up, find some more interesting things about him. And the rest they say is history. We've known each other for over 3 years now, and I am so grateful to know such a very, very wise person. He is not the conventional speaker. He is the type that is committed to ending boring. So whatever we're going to be learning tonight, just get ready to end boring. So I'll just read these fun facts, and I want us to get ready to learn from him tonight. He's a top-rated instructor on Coursera and Udemy with over 200,000 global students. He was the official MC for the Olympics, the Pan Am Games, the Invictus Games, and the FIFA World Cup. Yeah, that's him. And the largest crowd he ever spoke was in front of 50,000. I haven't gotten there, so I really need to honor someone who has done that. All right. And he's the author of End Boring, A Tactical Approach to Communication. That's a book you must get. That's a book you must read. And when he's not speaking, he's teaching dancing as a professional salsa dancer. That's interesting. I love someone who can do much more than what you think that they can do. And of course, he's the founder of Public Speaking Lab, which is an international training and consulting institute, reshaping communication to unleash individuals' full speaking potential. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the person that we have today is a great man. Is an unconventional speaker. I like to emphasize that because I know that you have read many books, you have heard from people about public speaking is good, is this, is that. But the person that we're having here tonight is about to help us, is about to answer our questions, is about to teach us, we're about to learn. So let us welcome the man himself, Ivan Ruiz. Can we celebrate him as he comes on food? Hi.
Wow, Temi,
You're welcome.
Say, you should get a job as a motivational one-on-one because I don't know how to live up to that introduction you just gave me. But
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like it. You're welcome, Ivan. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you. How are you doing?
It's my pleasure. It's a cold day in Toronto, Canada. So I know that we're on different sides of the world, which is one of my favorite things. It's actually something I miss about 2020. I know a lot of people didn't like the COVID thing. It was, for me, I thought it was very cool. And I love that we had a couple of sessions because of the Coursera class live. And people from around the world would come. And I'd always be like, what time is it there? And they'd be like, it's 2 a.m. And I'm like, that's weird. And, it'd be like 5 a.m. for me. And I just love that time zone thing. I find that so fun.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to see we have people welcoming you in the comments.
Hi, everybody.
Excited.
Welcome.
That is
Thanks for
amazing.
Coming.
All right. So I want you to go right into it. I want to give you the floor. I want you to take the stage and we're ready to listen to you. So over to you now. I'll be putting you on full screen for a few minutes and then we'll take the questions.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, I prepared, because we don't have a lot of time, what I wanted to do is I wanted to go through three strategies that anyone watching can learn to become a better speaker, to become more engaging. Because, see, the hard part is not the information. This is the trap, Temi. Everyone thinks that, my information is most important. It isn't. Because I could probably find it on Google within 5 minutes. So it's not the information. In fact, it is how you deliver information that's really going to make us go to the next level. So today I want to cover 3 different tactics that will help you deliver information in a way that's going to be like, ooh, who's this person? So if you want to share my deck, I have the deck uploaded. I think you just have to share it. I'm going to go through a couple of quick things, and then exactly perfect. And Temi, I'm going to put you to work here.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you to share and stop share, share and stop share, share
No
and stop share.
No
Okay?
problem at all.
So just as an experiment right now, stop sharing the deck. So there's just
Okay.
you and I. Okay, now share it again. And this is the first thing I want to show you, my friends. You see, if I was going to ask you how much communication is nonverbal, right? Most of us would agree a lot. But when we are speaking virtually, we forget that and we do this. We share a slide deck and we're the little picture in the corner. So all of a sudden, there's no nonverbal communication. And listen, everyone watching, you have said this to yourself. If it's important, I'll just ask for the slide deck later. You know, when we're in classes and stuff like that, we always say those things. So the first secret to being engaging when you're speaking virtually is to go back and forth between you and your slides. And if you watch YouTube, if any of you watch YouTube, you see the best YouTubers always do this. They're changing what you look at. So when we're presenting, we need to change what we look at.
True.
So stop sharing for a second. Boom. Just this little back and forth is enough that even if someone is over here on their phone like this, they're going to be like, oh, what changed? Even if someone is looking at their phone and they're doing something else, they're going to see what changed. And it's always going to bring people back. Now, that one is bonus points. That's not even part of the session. That's just bonus points. Change what we're looking at. So the next time, Temi, you start full screen and then share a deck and then show me and then go back to full screen and then keep it changing. But let's go back to the deck real quick and let's talk about that first item, uncertainty. Now, for everyone in the chat, I can't actually see the chat or anything, so I'm just going to trust you, Temi. You can moderate for me. I have a challenge. Okay? What do you think this number means?
Okay, everybody, let's type something in the chat. When you see this number on the screen, what do you think it means? I want to hear your ideas. I want to hear your answers. Come on, come on, come on. Let's type it. You see this number on the screen. What do you think it means?
Yeah.
Can I go first? Because I have an idea.
What do you think it is?
I think it's people. The number of people.
The number of people where?
On my mind would be say money, because I mean.
Okay, you're right. It is a number of people, but where?
Wow. Come on, guys, drop something in the comments. Don't leave me to do this.
Where do you live, Temi?
Nigeria. Okay, someone says amount of money.
It's close. Thanks, Daniel. It's actually the population of Nigeria as of 2020.
Oh my God. Okay.
And I think Nigeria is the biggest population in Africa. They have one of the biggest populations in Africa. Now, suppose I was doing a presentation about Nigeria. Instead of starting off with a boring introduction, hello, my name is, what if I started off with a number like this without any context and made people try to figure it out? And then when you realize that, you're like, oh my gosh, why didn't I know that, right? There's that moment. Here's another one. Okay, here's another one.
Wow.
Now, you see what I'm doing is I'm making a slide that only generates questions. I'm making a slide that is a puzzle that you have to figure out. Because here's the thing. If all the information is on my slides, why should I listen to you?
Good question.
Right? So the best way to make slides is you make slides using uncertainty. A slide that doesn't make sense, that is a puzzle. Because now you have to listen to me. And I'm going to take it easy on everyone here. This is actually the countries in which exports from Africa go to the most. So here's where all the exports from Africa go by general area. So you can see that the big one is still the EU, but China and India are in second and third place.
Interesting.
I'm going to do one more just for fun. Just for fun. I'm
All right.
not going to ask you all to name all these countries, okay? I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to tell you the name of all the countries. But what do they have in common?
All right, everybody, we're doing this together. What do these countries have in common?
And gang, while you're all trying to figure this out, remember that this is actually something you can do. Instead of just giving a slide with a couple of bullets, put a slide and put it out to the audience, because here's the truth. This is the truth. It's not harder to keep people engaged virtually versus in person. It's just virtually, I don't have to be polite. I am just as bored in person. If you show me a presentation and I'm staring at a slide deck and you're talking, I'm just as bored as if I'm watching it. But if I was going to go like this in the middle of a class, you'd be like, that's super bored. That's very rude. But everyone puts their phone in front of their computers. How do you know I'm not looking at something else when I'm looking, right?
Yeah. Oh, someone says shape. I'm not sure. Do they have the same shape?
Maybe they all have shapes. Yeah. Well, I'm going to take it easy on you, my friends. All the countries are in Africa. Correct.
Woo! Good job, Samuel.
These are the largest economies in Africa. These are the So imagine if I was doing a presentation about economics and the largest economies, instead of showing you just this slide and talking about it, by doing this, I'm generating interest and curiosity and questions. And then when I reveal what it actually means, you go, oh.
Yeah.
See? Yeah. So the idea is uncertainty equals interest. If I don't know what I'm looking at, I have to listen to you to figure out what I'm looking at. So that's the first tip, my friends. Uncertainty equals interest. Using uncertainty. The second tip I'm going to give you is this. Take a second and read that, everybody.
Okay, so what are we doing here?
You see, this is death and the death of interest. One of the things I always like to say is formality is the death of interest. The second
formality is the death of interest.
Yeah. Temi, we talked about this. Okay, I'm going to tell everyone, this is behind the scenes. When Temi and I were talking, she was going to go through a basic intro of me and do the bio and tell me talk. And I said, everyone does that. There is nothing interesting about that. And it's very formal. Listen, imagine, dang, if I was going to start off this virtual session and I was like, hi, everyone. My name is Ivan Juanes Ruiz. I'm very happy to be with you here today. Today, I'd like to share some ideas. And already I can see that you're tuning me out. Already you're like, Formality is the death of interest. And you will always be formal if you write out your speech. You will always be formal if you write out your speech. Because the way we write is not how we speak.
True.
The way we write. There's actually I was listening to a very interesting TED Talk by this guy who talked, I'll find the book for you later. It's all about how language evolves over time. And one of the things he said was, you notice a text message? When you look at a text message, it's barely English, right? It's barely language. It's like abbreviations, it's emojis, it's all this stuff. Now, we think that is the death of the language. Oh my God, people are being so sloppy. But it's actually it. Here's the thing. Text messages aren't written communication. They are our attempts to write verbal communication. Because the way we speak is so different than how we write. This is why, if you've ever tried to learn a different language and you go to class and you learn the right way to speak something, and then you go to that country or you meet someone from that country and they right away, you're like, I have no idea what you're saying. Because the formality is not how people actually speak.
This is so good. I need to take notes.
But this is true, right? So think about it, like if we were to learn like write written English, for example, right? We would say, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am so happy to be with you here today.
Yeah. would.
You see, exactly. That's it. You're like, yeah, okay. It doesn't mean anything. It's like I'm talking at you. I'm not talking to you. But if I go like, hello, how are you? This is exciting. I'm super happy to be here. Like if I speak normally, that is
Mm-hmm.
engaging. And gang, think about this.
Mm.
When I ask people who are the best speakers, people always talk about like politicians and like CEOs. But no one has ever said, hey, who wants to come over to my house on Friday night and watch a politician speak? No one has ever said that.
Yeah, yeah.
However, we'll go and we'll watch some from YouTube talk. Why? Because they sound like they're talking to us, not at us. They are not using the formality.
Mm-hmm. True,
So
true.
but here's the thing. I understand that we get nervous when we speak. A lot of us get nervous when we speak. So we write out our presentation and we write it so that in case we forget something, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't actually work. And I'll tell you why. If you write a big paragraph and you forget your place, the second you have to try and find it, you're going to feel it's, oh my God, it's so quiet. It's so quiet. Where am I? Where am I? Where
Yes,
am I? Oh my God.
that is so true. There's that awkwardness.
Yes. And the panic, that silence, that like, you know what I mean? So,
Unbearable.
so that doesn't work. Memorizing is going to make you sound formal. And so no one will listen to you. So that doesn't work. So what do you do
True.
instead? You have to write in reminders. So when I'm writing my presentation, here's what I do. I will write out everything I want to say.
Okay.
Then I'll just start cutting out all the sentences and trying to reduce it to like 3 words that is going to remind me what to say. So for example, let's suppose I'm doing a presentation and I'm going to go back to this one, okay? Instead of writing, we can see here like word for word, we can see here, these are the largest economies in Africa and they
Yeah.
are Algeria and Egypt. I don't have to say any of that. What I would do instead is I would just write largest economies and nothing else. Because then I'll look at it like, oh yes, okay, so now I want to talk about the largest economies in Africa. And then whatever I want to say, I would put 1 or 2 words. And then when you practice, every time you say it, it's going to be a little bit different. Good, because that means you're finding your own natural way to say things.
Awesome. Awesome.
And so
Awesome.
that is the second tip I want to give you. Formality is the death of interest. Write in reminders.
Right.
The last thing I want to talk about is calluses. Temi, do you have any calluses? Do you know this? The calluses? Can you see the hard skin?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, maybe a little bit on the toes, on the feet. Are you working out? You exercising? You hitting the gym?
Definitely.
Okay, so let's stop sharing for a second.
Okay. Done.
Did you watch Dune? The movie
No.
Dune? Have you seen the movie
No.
Dune? No?
No. No.
It's one of the biggest movies out right now. Dune. It's based on the book Dune by a sci-fi book.
Okay.
And it's got all these great lines in it. And one of the famous lines from the book is fear is the mind killer. Fear is the mind killer. Meaning that when you're afraid, you stop thinking.
Wow.
Now, when we're speaking, when in front of them, it's nervous. We get afraid. We
True.
stop thinking. We forget what we're going to say.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So what can you do about that? Is there a way to overcome that? No. You will always be afraid. I'm going to be very honest with everyone watching. Gang, there's no such thing as not being nervous. You're always going to be nervous. So instead of trying not to feel something, that's impossible. No breathing, no visualization, nothing like that will make you stop being nervous. So instead of trying to change your physiology, changing how you feel, you got to get used to it. You have to build calluses. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Here's what I mean. The best way to not forget what you're going to say is to always practice replicating the fear. So here's how most people practice. I'll sit with my piece of paper and I'll go in my room, or I'll look at the mirror or somewhere private, and I'll be like, I'll read what I'm going to say and I'll practice that way. Or I'll look at my PowerPoint slides and I'll practice that way, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to do it for real, and you're like, all the practice goes away, and you're like, because there was no stress in your practice. So you have to practice where other people can see you. So if you go so instead of practicing in your room or on the bus, like you go to the cafeteria, if you go to university, for example, or you go to a park, or you walk around the block and you go like this. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, what's the next thing I wanted to talk about? You see the 3 words. Oh, 7 biggest economies. Okay, the 7 biggest economies in Africa. And here's the thing. You're going to walk around and you're going to feel so self-conscious. You're going to walk around and feel like a crazy. You're going to be in the cafeteria and people are going to walk by and you're going to be like, I can't. I just can't. I'm too Good. Because that is replicating how you feel when you have to do it for real. And I promise you this. If you go to walk around the block and try to say your speech, the first time you won't be able to do it.
True.
The second time you'll be like, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. The third, the fourth, it'll get easier and easier. Every single time you're going to be afraid. Every single time. You're always going to be nervous. But if you practice with nervousness, you build calluses. So you feel it, but it doesn't affect you.
Awesome.
This is the secret, my friends. You feel it, but it doesn't affect you.
Wow.
So those, and we can share my screen. Share my screen
Okay.
now. Those are the 3 tactics. Uncertainty with your slides, formality when you speak, and practice by building calluses by always practicing with stress. And we can stop sharing now.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. I see another fear is the mind killer. I just saw a little comment there. Yeah, fear is the mind. It's not mine. It's from the book Dune by Frank Herbert. But is that a true thing, right?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much. That is a very, very wonderful intro. In fact, it's more like a mini masterclass already. I'm sure that a lot of people have learned something in just this very short introduction. Can we celebrate Ivan in the comments, please, guys? If you have learned anything at all, can you say thank you? Can you say we appreciate you? And of course, show me your excitement. Thank you so much, Ivan. That was amazing. I think right now we'll just start the questions.
Yeah, throw some questions at me. We got time. Let's go.
Okay, let's do this. All right. Okay, the very first question here says, what makes one an outstanding speaker? So I think this person is thinking, how do you call someone an outstanding speaker? What makes you an outstanding speaker?
That's such a big question, and it depends on so many things. But I'd like to give you a couple of strategies to make you an outstanding speaker. Because
awesome.
there's a couple of things that I think nobody does. You see, the vast majority of people that we watch speaking about how to be a good speaker, they're all academics. None of them do it. They just go and do presentations about their research or their book. But they, okay, teach me engineering, teach me biology, teach me something, show me your tactics in this. None of them can do it. They just talk about what they're all academics. They can't do it. So I want to give you some strategies that you can use that no one talks about, that are easy, that you can use, because I do it all the time. When I'm not teaching speaking, I'm in front of crowds actually speaking. I teach engineers, scientists, graduate students, business students. I work in like 10 different industries, and I learn their industries. So I apply what I'm doing in a variety of ways. And here's the number one thing that can make you an outstanding speaker: making the audience do stuff.
True.
So instead of lecturing, the more you can make your audience do, whether it's shows of hands, questions, turn to the person next to you, even if it's like, I want you to think about this, the more you can make the audience do, the better. That's one way to become an outstanding speaker. The reason
Make
I'm not talking, a lot of people, oh, please go ahead, Tammy, go ahead.
I was repeating it. Make the audience do stuff.
Yeah. So if you're ever in a session with me, within the first like 2 to 3 minutes, you're already doing things. The way you
Absolutely.
started your thing was really great. The way you came in, and I talk about this, if you're going to do a virtual session, don't just come in and start. Get the audience to do something. Where in the world are you? Say if you're here, write loud and clear. Like these were the great little strategies that you did.
Now I'm feeling myself like, oh my God.
Yeah. And you can do this in person and virtually. The one trope, the one thing everyone always says, you got to speak with passion, speak with passion. And they're right. But the thing is, so much of what we talk about has nothing to do with passion. If I'm working in a job and I have to do a quarterly sales meeting, you know what I don't want to do? Tell you about my fears and my obstacles and no, I want to give you a quick little thing. Right? So
yeah.
A lot of the advice is all about, to be a really great speaker, is all about being a motivational speaker. Making the audience work is a great to be an outstanding speaker in general. I'll give you one more thing.
Okay.
Ask lots of questions. Rhetorical questions. Really good, engaging speakers always, and I've done this, I do this naturally all the time, but what does that mean? What happened next? How can we fix it? Is there a solution? I don't like, every time you ask these rhetorical questions, it's the only thing in someone's mind.
True. True.
And then the last thing I'm going to say is, because you have to always build calluses, if you want to become a really great speaker, find opportunities to speak. Whether it's at networking events, whether you volunteer to do something. Sometimes if you want to work for like experiential marketing companies, where you go on the street and you're giving samples or doing things, these are all ways to become better at speaking in front of others. You can join Toastmasters, and you can also do improvisation. Go and do an improv. These are all ways that get yourself out there speaking. The more of that you do, the better. Sometimes I volunteer to be like, hey, do you need anyone to introduce the speaker? I used to volunteer at a theater, and my job was to be like, hi, everyone. I'm just here to let you know to turn the lights off, make sure your phones are, like, any opportunity, I would volunteer to do that.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. So for the person that asked that question, I think he has given up to 5 great ways to be an outstanding speaker. He talked about making the audience do stuff, asking questions, volunteering, and he also mentioned some platforms that you can do that. Please make sure that you are taking notes and you put those things to practice. Thank you so much, Yvonne. The next question quickly says, how do you control your body and voice from shaking while trying to speak in the public space, especially when the discussion is unplanned and you might have multiple thoughts running through your head?
Yeah.
All right, go.
Well, I will say, I'll tell you this. Okay. The first thing is, if you're always practicing with stress, that goes away. Because that's part of the building the calluses. But suppose you're in a discussion, you weren't planning for it, you're still starting out, and you have to try and control your voice, but you have to do something, right? The number one thing I like to tell people when they're shy and nervous, when they're scared, okay, is you have to buy yourself some time. How do you buy yourself time? You do it in one of 2 ways. One, you ask the audience. How many of you actually also have that question? Oh, interesting. What are some of your thoughts? Before I answer, what are some of your thoughts? You get a few people to give you more thoughts. That's going to give you time to figure out what you're going to say. Yeah. And the second way is, say, before I answer that question, can everyone just take 30 seconds, turn to the person next to you, and see what you think the answer is? Go. Both of those give you time to figure out your thoughts. It allows you to speak, but now the focus is off you, so you can relax for a minute. And then also, if you say, what do you think the solutions are? Whatever they say is going to help you clarify what you want to say.
True. So true. So true and so good. Thank you so much.
Every time I have a question that I don't know how to answer, I do that. Well, actually, you know what? I always say, before I answer, let's put it up to the room. It makes you look so professional, and in my head I'm going, oh my god, I have no idea what to say. I have no idea. But I put it out, and then within a minute I'm like, okay, now I got it. Or someone says something like, oh, good point. That's what I wanted to say.
Absolutely. So good. Okay, next question says, how do I speak truthfully and sincerely without hurting people's feelings?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I'm going to assume that you're talking about like if you're trying to give feedback or you're talking interpersonally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, so I'm going to take the angle of, let's say you're giving feedback. Okay. The number one trap we fall into when we're giving feedback is we say really general positive comments and then very specific negative comments or constructive. We say, you're great, you're really great. Everything you're doing is great. And then we'll give you like a list of things that you're not great at.
Yeah, and
So
that ruins it.
that ruins it. So that one of the ways that I do it is you have to be very specific on the positive stuff. So
Mm.
let's suppose it's professionally. You say something instead of saying, you know what, you're doing really great with customer service. You're great. And that doesn't mean anything. You say, I love how, you don't let the phone ring more than twice. I love how you're always really sure. I like how when you answer the phone, you always try to have a little bit of small talk. I think that's great. You say little specific things. So the person goes, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh, thank you. Oh, you noticed that. Hey, gang. Sometimes you'll dress and you'll put on like a new earrings or something and you won't tell anyone, but if someone notices, doesn't it make your day?
You're so elated.
Yeah. Feedback is the same way. We do
Mm.
things all the time in school or work that we think are like really good. You don't mention it to anyone, but it's things that you think make you like good.
Yeah,
When someone notices, you're like, oh, you noticed that?
great.
So the way you are honest is always start with specific positivity.
Specific.
Then, if you're trying to give someone feedback and it's maybe a little bit negative or constructive, phrase it as questions. I always go to that. I say, listen, have you ever considered blank, blank, and blank? So
Mm.
let's go back to the phone example.
Okay.
Have you ever considered that maybe we could keep the time a little shorter when we're talking to customers? Or have you ever considered that maybe it's okay to put people on hold, especially if we're having a lot of calls coming through?
Awesome.
Versus saying, I want you to do that. You're talking for too long. You need to
Mm-hmm.
talk for, you see what I mean? You put
Yeah,
that, and that's a really good, great way to give constructive feedback without hurting someone's feelings or getting them defensive.
true. True. Awesome. Thank you so much, Yvonne. This next question says, how do you know you can be a public speaker?
Hmm.
How do I
Well,
know I have it in me?
yeah. Well, I mean, anyone can be a public speaker, dude. Uh, Not everyone, but like the secret is the only thing that makes me like more dynamic when I speak is not because I'm inherently better at it. I've had more experience.
True.
So here's what I would tell people. If you want to become like a motivational speaker, you want to become an influencer, you have to find as many opportunities as you can to do it. And then I'm going to say something else.
Okay.
So one of the first loves of my life was a girl from England that I met in the Dominican Republic. And
Oh,
yeah, it didn't work out. I was like 18 years old. It totally didn't work out. Don't worry about it. I don't even.
sorry.
I hope she has a great life. I haven't talked to her in 20 years. But anyway, I think it's all
Okay.
right. Now, I was so in love with her that I flew to England to visit her. And
Whoa.
she was going to a music school. And we met this guy who was in his 60s and he had been a blues musician his entire life. He's like, I've never had a job. All I do is play music. I'm broke, but he was there teaching everyone and lecturing about how to be a professional musician.
Okay.
And he said, here's the thing you have to understand about really good musicians. Every single thing you've heard a good musician do, they copied from somebody else and they made them
Mm.
their own. So he's saying, the first time you heard and he starts doing these famous songs, he's like, they stole that from somebody, but then they made it their own. So the best way you can know if you can become a good public speaker is to find people who you think are really good speakers that you really like to watch, whether it's an influencer on YouTube or some person who's a motivational speaker, and see if you can copy what they do. Then make it your own. So if you really like the way this one person speaks, Try and do their speech the way they do it. Then
Mm,
see if you can make it better.
brilliant. Really brilliant. Okay. Thank you
And
so
never fall
much.
in love. It doesn't work. I'm just kidding.
Please, I believe in love. I will not say they should never fall in love. Okay, next question. Any practical tips to go from a stammerer to a solid speaker?
If you're talking about a physiological condition, like you have like an actual stammer, like you're like, that's like physiological, that's neurological, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an expert in like that condition. So I wouldn't say, I won't give you any advice on that. What I will say is I do know friends that stammer who embrace it by letting everyone know that they stammer and that it's okay to notice it. So, for example, there's actually a very famous guy in Canada, and he's a motivational speaker who has a really big stutter, and he's like, I like he's got that stutter. He works on it, but he made that his niche. That
Mm.
even though he has a stutter, he's still able to communicate, and now he goes and talks to people about confidence, etc. The other thing you can do is if you have like, let's say you don't want to be a professional speaker, you just have to get up and speak at like school or at a meeting or something. You know that phrase, you have to, the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Okay, so acknowledge the elephant in the room. We were talking about this. I was telling you the story about I had a student of mine who had she was from mainland China, and she had a very thick accent, and she was like,
Yes.
I'm very self-conscious of my accent. My English is not the greatest. And I said, you know what? When you go to your presentation tomorrow, start off by saying, some of you have noticed I have a little bit of an accent.
Mm.
And because her accent was a lot, everyone giggled. And she said, I know, that's good. Listen, I know I have an accent. If I say something that you don't understand, just ask me to repeat it. It's going to be okay. You don't have to worry. I won't be offended. And for my stutterers, if you're there, say it at the beginning. I have a bit of a stutter. I'm working on it. But if I say something and you want me to repeat it, as long as you don't mind me stuttering it through again, I'm okay with it too. Everybody relaxes, including you.
Oops.
Did I lose you? I'm still here, I think. Gang, I think I'm still here, but we may have lost Temi, or you guys are all there and I'm gone. So I guess everybody in the chat, if you're still here, I mean, it's good that we're almost out of time because we were only here for 45 minutes. But if you're in the chat, can you let me know if you can hear me okay? Okay. Okay, I see some comments here. I see your comments. Awesome. So gang, I think it's just us here. We may have lost Temi. Oh no, that's okay. Well, the show must go on. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk for like another 2 minutes. And if we don't have Temi back, I'm going to say thank you very much. I'm going to share my information. And then we'll all say awesome. We'll all make sure that we send Temi a really nice message saying you did great. By the way, if anyone wants to connect with me, you can reach out to me on Instagram. I am at Public Speaking Lab. Here, Public Speaking Lab. That's me on everywhere, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, although I don't go on there very much, on Instagram. That's me everywhere there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to end the show. I will jump in here and let poor girl. I'm so sorry that she got cut off. Probably her connection. But I want to say thank you all for joining us here today. Make sure to follow Temi on all her social media. If you could do us a favor, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like on YouTube. If you follow Temi, if you could take a screen capture right now, I'm going to give you a thumbs up and then share it with her. That would be fantastic. So here we go. Ready? If you took a screen capture, send it to Temi and she'll probably share it on social media. Aside from that, everybody, thank you all so much for joining us. And we'll see you all later. Bye, everybody.
Okay, we're back. I do apologize for that. It was a sudden loss in the internet connection. Thank you for staying. I still see some people in the room who are still live. I really apologize for that. Ivan will join us again. I just quickly need to get in touch with him. So just a 30-second countdown and then we'll join us back. Thank you. I'm still here. Please don't go anywhere. All right, everybody, we're back. Once again, I truly apologize for that sudden break in transmission. Ivan will join us again shortly. If you are still with me, I want you to tell me something that you have learned in the short period that, you know, It's not actually short. We spent quite some time here. That you have joined us. What are the salient points that you have learned? I have seen some things in this place, and I am going to share them. Okay, acknowledge your weakness. You can develop your weakness into a strength. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is beautiful. Any other thing? Any other thing? Oh, I still see some people asking. We are back. Let me update that. Okay, we are still live, guys. Give me a moment to note that we had that sudden break in transmission, but the devil is a liar. So now that I'm back, if you can hear me, please again type loud and clear. I want to be sure that I'm not making a mistake of thinking that I can be heard. If you can hear me, please type loud and clear. Okay. Let me update us on our socials. Say we are still on, so that people will not think that we are done. We are still on. We are still on. We're still on. Had a network change. Okay, so loud and clear. Thank you, Samuel. Thank you. Loud and clear. Who else can hear me loud and clear? Just a second while I am still updating our socials. We are still on. Let nobody think that we have gone. Okay. Okay, so thank you. I can see that we're still here. So I was saying that you should share some of the things that you learned while Ivan was speaking. I'm sure that many of you could already see that this session, this session is different. This session is amazing, right? So what are the things, what are the points, what are the things that you could, learn while we were having that conversation, especially from the Q&A? I realized that as he was answering the question, for many of us, is something that we could relate to, is something that you could say, I've heard this somewhere before. This is something that I can absolutely relate to. This is something that happens to me from time to time. So if it is something that you absolutely relate to, all right, you can type it in the chat. Okay, you can still hear me. That's good. I'm excited to hear that. I'm excited to hear that. Okay. Let me see if there's any other point. Okay, find people who are good speakers and see if you can copy them and then make it better. Oh, okay. Let me send one more message. All right. Okay. Any other interesting points? Find people who are good at public speaking and try to do it the way they do. Good. So let me see if there is any other interesting thing that we have learned. Oh, it appears that you seem to have rounded off the session while I was off. But we still have questions. So how do we do it? Do we leave it in our WhatsApp group to answer, or do we bring Ivan back? Let me know what you want. So whatever you guys type in the chat now is what I'm going to do. I'm going to communicate with Ivan and let him know. Are we still on, or should we answer the questions later? Whatever you guys say, that is what I'm going to do. I'm waiting. Please type something in the chat so that I can make a decision really fast. So if you want us to continue, say continue. If you want us to bring him back, say bring him back. That's what I want to see now. Okay, one person says bring him back. Any other person? I want to see our action. I'm already communicating with him over here to let him know that we still want Ivan to come. So please bring him back. I want to see it plenty. Bring him back. So that it will not just be me. Of course, I also want him to come back because we still have questions, and I promise that all your questions are going to be answered. Thank you, Samuel. Bring him back. Bring Yvonne back. We want Yvonne back. Okay, Yvonne is here now. We can continue. All right. Welcome back. I am so, so sorry. I had
Okay.
a sudden interruption, and well, let's thank God I'm back now.
No problem. Yeah, we're back. No worries.
All right.
All right. I thought we were only going 45 minutes, so I told everyone we were done and then I busted out. But yeah, I got some more time. There we go. Put the little
Okay.
light on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, someone is saying, welcome back, Yvonne. You see, we're excited to have you back. All right. So I'll be very fast now so that
That's
because
okay.
of our time, so that we can finish early. Um, This one says, oh,
Yeah.
so did you finish the question on the one with a stutter? Did you finish that before I went
Yeah.
off?
Yeah. We finished that one for sure. That was right when you got frozen, but I was still here. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
great. This one seems similar. It says, what can I do if I don't have confidence in my tenses and grammar, even though I can speak fluently?
Well, you have to understand that all that confidence stuff comes from the calluses, right? So the only reason those things are happening is because you're not practicing with stress. So when you're doing it for real, you're getting super nervous and that's causing you to stumble. So if you practice by replicating the nerves, by, like I said, practicing where people can see you, even going up to someone you know and saying, hey, can I practice my presentation in front of you? Doing it like 5 times or something, that's going to change things. When I was first in Toastmasters, which is a public speaking club, they my first thing that I ever had to do when I had to speak in front of people was I had to tell a joke. So what I did is I called, like, gosh, maybe 10 friends the day I had to do the joke, and I called them like, hey, can I
No, this is not.
say a joke in front of you? And they were like, sure. And the first couple of times I did the joke, it was terrible because I was so nervous I couldn't think of the right words and I kept stumbling. But by the sixth, seventh person, I was getting through the joke and I was getting laughs. By the 10th person, I was saying the joke. Every time I did it, it was a little bit different, but I became so smooth because I had practiced it with the stress of people. So that's how you do it. Oh no, I think we lost her again, gang. Hi. Yeah, I can see you. You're a little sketchy, but I can see you. And remember, Abigail, you say practice consistently. I agree.
Good Lord. Can
It's okay.
anybody hear
Go ahead.
me?
Just make sure that you practice with stress. Exactly, Abigail. Practice with the stress of other people watching you, always. That's the only way to practice.
Awesome. Thank you. Next question says, how can I get my audience in public speaking? So how do I know? I think this person is trying to ask what their maybe the niche and also how to know the kind of people that they should speak to.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that I did to kind of grow my business, like, because when there's like everybody and their mom is trying to tell you how to live your life. So there's so many people on LinkedIn who are motivational speakers, blah 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 blah. So there's a couple of avenues you have to take.
Okay.
Number one, so there's the first thing is start volunteering at events where there are people speaking and say, hey, I'd like to be able to introduce the speakers, or hey, can I do anything on stage? You do this so you get some experience. And also, this is the number one way. This is going to be the number one way for people to see you in action. The second way that you can build your audience is by, and this one is something that I've just started doing the last couple of years. So there's a lot of conferences in the world. Like, for example, there's a conference for MBA career centers. So people who want to do their MBAs, right? There's a conference for MBA career centers. That's a big part of my audience. So I actually paid to go and speak at a conference. I said, hey, I'd like to speak at this conference. They're saying, yeah, you have to become a member. It's this amount, and you can do a 1-hour session, and we'll promote it. So I did this 1-hour session, and like 100 people came. And out of the 100 people, almost everyone wanted to exchange information. And from that, I got a couple of clients. And then they paid me to go to where they are and do the same thing. So that's a second way that you can grow. The first one is volunteering. The second one is paying. The third is to either create or join like a Toastmasters club. And then what you do is you ask your Toastmasters, everyone. So this is what I did. This is how I got my very first client. I was in a Toastmasters club, and I told all the members of my Toastmasters club, my public speaking club, when you go back to your classes, talk to your teachers. When you go back to work, talk to your managers and say, hey, my public speaking club would like to do a free 1-hour training session on public speaking. So it wasn't just a random person. It was members of my public speaking club and we were all there to get better at public speaking, going to people they knew and saying, not me, but my club. And so I was the person who was doing the training in the club. So they would bring in the Toastmasters, but I would do the training. And from that, I met the person who does the hiring. They said, hey, can you come back in 6 months and do it for the next class? And I said, yes. And that's how I got my first client. So that's
awesome.
3 ways.
Thank you. Thank you.
3 ways to find your audience.
All right. Thank you. Can we appreciate Ivan in the comments? He has gone out of his way to stay with us and answer all our questions. Say thank you, Ivan.
No worries. Is that all the questions, or is that all the questions, or did you have anything else?
I want to look through the chats to see if we have more. The other questions seem to have been answered already. They were all around how to hide your nervousness, how to handle shyness. So I think we have dealt with that a lot. But if you have any more questions, guys, put it in the chats. I'm going to be looking through the chats now to ensure that I do not. Okay. All right. Anybody ask your questions now while you can, while we still have Yvonne in the room. Okay. I do not think that we have any other question. I'm looking through it now.
Yeah, no worries.
All I'm seeing is gratitude. Thank you, Yvonne.
Well, thank you all. Thank you all for coming here. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys. I'm not sure if this has been shared earlier. Okay, I see a question. I want to start a podcast. What do you think I should do before starting out? All right.
Oh gosh. Well, let me preface by saying I'm not an expert in podcasts. I don't have a podcast. I've been a guest in many podcasts, but I would suggest a couple of things. Number one is have a specific niche for your podcast that isn't what other people are doing. So Abigail, whatever your niche is, make it very specific, make it small. So, for example, there's some people who I just want to talk about leadership and motivation and finding your passion. There's thousands of podcasts that do that. You got to go way more specific, like finding your passion in what field. And let me give you an example. I had a friend of mine, and she wanted to build a website online. And the strategy, she went niche. She had to find her audience. And you know what she did? She saw, okay, I really like inflatable kayaks. And you're like, inflatable kayaks? I had never even heard of it. And I don't know if I've ever even seen an inflatable kayak. I have no idea what that is. You know what I mean? It seems like it's a very small market, but globally, it's millions of people. So she actually ended up quitting her job because that one little niche gave her thousands of people who wanted to talk to her. Amazing. So if you're going to start a podcast, make sure you find a niche. Like if you put in the comments the kind of things you're thinking about starting a podcast, I'll give you some advice on how to go more niche if you want. Just do that now, Abigail. What else?
Okay. All right. So next question. I see another question in the chat. It says, how many hours is the minimum for me to effectively prepare for public speaking?
You can't think of it as a minimum or a maximum. What I will say is this. No amount of class will make you better. The way I improved was by going up, not by learning public speaking, but by doing public speaking. So let me give you an example. As you mentioned, I'm a big dancer. And when I started dancing, I got really good really fast. Not because I'm a great dancer, but everyone in my class would take a once a week class. And so their progress was like this. I would take a class and then go dancing all week long. And then I'd come back and I was already up here because I danced like 4 or 5 times and no one else had. They waited for the next class. So if you want to get better at public speaking, go and take a public speaking class, but see if you can find opportunities to do it. Like, even if it's just introducing people, even if it's just practicing and memorizing famous speeches and walking around the block, the more you practice, it's going to make your improvement go like from this to this. Also, take improv. Improv will make you a better speaker no matter what. Improvisation.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. One more question. So I think, I'm not sure if Abigail heard what you said she should do, because I haven't seen it in the comments. Can you tell her again?
Just tell me what you want to do your podcast about.
Okay. So it's here. She says she wants to be picking out lessons of life experiences. Okay, so I know Abigail, and what I know that she does is she does something like this, like an interview, but she loves to interview people, ask them about their questions, their life experiences. She wants to paint the picture that your background does not define you. So she likes to bring people who have gone through challenges, who have made diamonds out of the rough. That's what she wants to focus on.
So I would give you two pieces of advice, Abigail. One, in your format, and two, in your niche. Okay. So in terms of the niche, that is such a big thing that you have to go a little more niche with it. So for example, finding people who've overcome adversity and now live in a different country. That's one niche, right? So interviewing, like, let's say interviewing Nigerians from around the world. How did you go from living in Nigeria to living in Sweden, to living in Texas, to living in Buenos Aires? That is a niche. Another one of your niches could be like, if you're talking about life experiences, what kind of life experiences? What things have you overcome? Find a specific place, whether it's in sports, in business, for women. And if you want to go even deeper, forget sports, in track and field. Forget business, in engineering. Forget like women. Go like women in blank. Do you know what I'm saying? Women under 30, women over 50. Like, even that, you could still go more niche. True. And the second way that I would suggest you to niche your podcast is you have to find out a format that is not just like an open Q&A. You have to find a format that is a little bit unique. And I'll give you two examples. There used to be a great podcast called the Dinner Party Podcast. And the Dinner Party Podcast would be an interview with someone, but the whole interview would be in the format of a dinner party. So whenever you go to a dinner party, usually everyone has a little drink or something, like a glass of wine or something. So for every guest, they would have a unique cocktail. The guest would have to bring a cocktail. Then, okay, let's ask a little breaking the ice question. So they would ask them break the ice question. It's like, okay, now appetizers, and they would talk about food. Okay, now main course, and they would talk about careers. And you know what I mean? And they basically made a format around what a dinner party would look like.
Awesome.
You could do that, for example. Finding a format that is different. Finding a format that isn't seen everywhere else. Especially, if there's something cultural that can affect the format, that could be something. Like, for example, in the world of salsa, most people go alone and dance with everyone. It's weird to dance with someone more than once. If I could figure out a way to make that into a podcast that was about salsa dancing, delicioso. You know what I mean?
Oh, awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Abigail. I am sure that he has done justice to your question. The last question here, it says, when you have limited time to present a speech, how do you squeeze it into the required period and wrap it up nicely? I like this.
Big one. So whoever asked me that question, this is the one. Before you get to that point, here's something you need to understand. You need to be able to summarize whatever speech you're doing in 1 or 2 sentences max. Okay? And then it's like a little summary sentence, okay? In my book, I talk about a bunch of different strategies that you can use to do this. But if you can't summarize your whole presentation simply with one course of action or one big idea or one number to remember, it can be any one of those, okay? Then you need to refine your presentation. The reason this is important is when you're running out of time, if you start speeding up, people mentally are already checking out.
True.
None of it be like, okay, we're almost out of time, so let me just rush through this. Someone says that, you've already stopped listening. That's it, you're done. So rushing through is not going to help you. Instead, you do this. You summarize whatever you like, you say, okay, so we're almost out of time. So here's the 2 things you need to remember. Here's 1 thing you need to remember. Here's 3 numbers I want you to remember. That's 1. You give them a summary. You don't rush through. You cut it and give them, here's something to remember. And then you say this: if anyone is curious or wants to know more about any of these 2 things I want you to remember, I'm going to stay around afterward and we can talk as a group. That gives you an opportunity to connect with people. When you say, please just remember these 2 things, they're way more likely to remember it. And then come and talk to me afterward. You're going to find the people who are really curious, and then you can keep going.
Awesome. So you give them a summary, and then you drop something like, if you want to hear more. So you make them want to look forward to hearing more. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Yvonne. Guys, I want to see you appreciating him in the chats. Okay, I'm going to take like 60 seconds to go through the chat and read everything. Wow, awesome. This is huge. Thank you. Call to action. Yeah, that's what it's called. Call to action.
You guys are very nice. Thank you for great enthusiasm. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ivan. So everybody, as you can see for yourself, this is not the ordinary. This is awesome. This is amazing. Ivan has a book, guys. It's titled End Boring, a Tactical Approach. Look, I want you to get the book. He also has a course on Udemy. I mentioned at the beginning of this session, for those who hadn't joined, that was where I met him. That was where I found out about him. And after watching 1 or 2 videos, I knew instantly. We connected. This is one of the most seasoned teachers in the field of.
Oh no.
Please get Ivan's book, order it online, and make sure that you follow him on his socials at Public Speaking Lab. I think in the comment earlier, I'm going to pin it on the screen. Please make sure that you follow Ivan on social media and engage. So don't just follow, make sure that you engage. You are constantly checking his page and you are engaging with the posts on there. Thank you so much, Ivan. I don't know what else to say other than thank you. I am truly, truly delighted. You've done justice to everything after here.
Thank you. You guys you're way too kind. I thank you for taking the time, and I really appreciate it. Sounds like the chat is very enthusiastic, and I think that's so lovely. And Temi, thank you for taking some time. It's late at night for you. Thank you for adjusting to my weird schedule. I appreciate everyone for coming out. Thank you all. Reach out anytime.
All right. Okay. So we have to let Yvonne go now. Thank you so much, Yvonne. We'll talk later. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Again, thank you all so much. Temi, it was fabulous seeing you.
Okay, guys. How was it? Like, tell me. It's you and I now. How was it? How was it? What did you learn? Let me see. Oh, thank you, Anu. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Eniola. It's good to have you in here. Oh, the name of the book, End Boring. I think I projected it when I was sharing his bio. End Boring. It's here. End Boring. I wish I could highlight it here. A Tactical Approach to Communication. That is the book, End Boring, A Tactical Approach to Communication. He also has a course on Udemy, Coursera, actually more than one, I think. You can also take those courses and learn a lot from Ivan. Thank you so much, guys, for staying despite the internet disruption. You know, the devil tried, but God is bigger. Thank you so much for staying. I'd like to look through and call out your names, especially those of you that drop comments. Some people joined, but they did not type comments. I recognize you and I appreciate you too. I'm trying to pin your comments on the screen so that I can see your names. Owolabi, Adeyinka. Oh my God, if I do this, I would have to mention every single person, and our time is gone as well. I see some of my friends. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Daniel Emmanuel. Thank you, Anoluwa. You guys were like the most active, just dropping points everywhere. And that's how I want it to be. That's how I want Chat with Temiloluwa to be, so that we can be interactive, so that we can keep learning. And with this, with your turnout, with your enthusiasm, I am encouraged to do more. So let me tell you guys, watch out for more. We have just started. You can type it out. Tell somebody next to you. We have just started. Watch out for Chat with Temiloluwa 4.0. 4.0. It's going to be bigger, it's going to be better, it's going to be more blessed by the grace of God. So if you're on our WhatsApp group, you can drop your feedback there as well. And if you have further questions, you can make sure that you send it there so that I can get it across to Yvonne. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for staying. Thank you, Oluwafemi. I'm excited to see you here as well. This is just a starting point, guys. Thank you. Thank you. I want to round off now, and I will see you on other platforms, because apart from this place, we are going to be connecting as well. Follow me on social media, guys. Temiloluwa Grace Owolabi on every social media platform. I'll see you some other time. God bless you. And happy Father's Day. Oh my God, I completely forgot. Happy Father's Day. Enjoy the rest of the night. Bye-bye.